I'm going to create a design using Florist netting. As many of you know, I don't typically use Florist netting for my demos, and I wasn't a true believer of it. I recently had the opportunity to work with Hitomi Gillum on another project, and Hitomi has really been using Florist netting, or this mechanic, I should say, long before it was manufactured. She's been using it for a long time, and she really spoke to me on why she does it and really the advantages to that, which made me say, you know, take a step back and put what you've always done in the past behind and see if there really is an advantage to this. Those of you that know me, it needs to make sense for profit, and it needs to be for productivity, and it has to be obviously cost efficient. So I really took time and experimented and worked with it, and I found that it really could be very efficient in both speed and productivity and cost controlling. So as a consumer, I was concerned that that consumer then would have this ball of wire, and what are they going to do with it? Well, if you use the Florist netting, which has a coating on it, then it's not going to cut them, especially if you do your pillows correctly. And so what I was finding is I was experimenting with family and friends, and they were like, well, this is okay. You know, they felt that even designing in it, it was helpful for them, for the novice. And then when it was finished, some of them would pull out the flowers as they were expiring. Others just were like, I'm just going to throw it away. Well, you know, we would rather it not just get thrown away. We'd rather reuse. And when I was speaking to Hitomi about it, she said that she actually, as her customers, return them to her. And because really it comes out like this, once you pull everything out, it can be flattened back down and stored and reused. So let's get started with our demo using the Florist netting. So I said it's flat like this. You're putting your hands and you're pulling it apart so that it's going to conform to the vase that I'm using. The idea is that it helps because we're putting the stems through both layers of our Florist netting. I'm going to shape this so it goes on the vase. And I do not want to put it in my vase. And I think that was part of my mental block, is like, it shouldn't be shoved down in a vase. It needs to sit on the vase and be able to be used in a situation where I'm using clear glass instead of just using it when I have a vessel that is not clear. It has to be a ceramic or a non-clear vase. So this works for a clear vase as well. So you can see I have it just formed to go on the top. The first insertions we're doing are foliage. So I have some gunai, eucalyptus, and the idea on our first insertions are that we're going through at an angle to hold this in place. And you can do it with as few as 3. Because for deliverability, obviously that stableness is super important. So if we put our 3 in here, then we can see that it's going to, besides the water, it'll stay in place. And then as we build, we can make sure that we're covering that mechanic as we go along. Add a couple more of these before I add my flowers. And you're using the same design techniques, making sure that you're not putting any foliage in the vase, all your proper care and handling and design techniques that you're using in the past. Okay, so now I have a good perimeter of my design. Now we have some hydrangea. We have 2 hydrangea. This again is cost control. This is one of the flower clique bouquets that we're using, so I'm controlling the costs that I'm using because of what we have here. So I'm going to cut my hydrangea stem. I would use either quick dip or my alum to make sure that it's processed correctly and going to last a long time. And then I'm going to put it in here. Now, what I find sometimes when I'm using the Florist netting is that that stem of the hydrangea, and you guys know what I'm talking about, is so thick. These are not. But if they are, what I've done is I've done a little clip on my Florist netting, and I've opened that top up so that that huge stem can go right in there. It's still not making a sharp end for my customer, but it allows me to deepen that stem so it's not sitting on the top of the arrangement. So sometimes you just have to do a little cheat. But you can see how that allows those to breathe a little bit more with the Florist netting rather than nestling them so deep into the vase. And we just continue with our flowers. We have the 4 roses and we have 1 Eryngium. We're going to go ahead and use that towards the top so that everybody can see it, and then just continue to design as we would normally. In the same technique you would before as far as placement, but what you're finding is that it's truly staying exactly where I put it. But as you can see, it's really allowing this to breathe a little bit more, and I'm not seeing that chicken wire or Florist netting hardly at all. I can see it when I'm real close. You can tell it, I'm sure. But we're going to look as soon as we finish inserting our flowers, and then the final, we're going to use the foliage to finish it up and to make sure that we're not seeing our mechanic, which we would do if we were doing floral foam as well. So it's just that different mechanic. It's allowing it to breathe. And I know that there's several of you who are going to be like shocked that I was like, wow, Vonda's really doing that. But I'm a true believer in trying something before I totally like eliminate it. And it really took that conversation with Hitomi with why she's been doing it this way for so many years and what is the advantage to it rather than looking at the negativity of it. Now, I don't think we're ever going to take floral foam away, but I do think there's applications for this as well as, doing it just in water is fine as well. I just had 1 of the silver dollar eucalyptus, and this is great for filling in on that edge. Now you just like any other design, you're going to go around the edge, cover your mechanic. This one I won't even need to use. You can see, I have a beautiful arrangement. It's breathing, and I used the flowers I had in my recipe and did them easily, and I can pull it out. The customer can easily add water to that. If it falls out in delivery, the delivery person can pull it up and fill the water. The advantage of not taping it down, because that's another question, is why don't I just tape it down with some clear tape? No one will know. Then it doesn't allow the customer to easily bring that arrangement up and add water to it. So I hope you consider something in the Florist netting. This one, Syndicate Sales, and it comes in 11-inch and 18-inch. But I'm not pushing floral netting. What I'm doing is letting you know it is a viable mechanic for us to be working on. Very cost effective if we use this type of product, and easy to send out. So let me know what you think.